Episode 17. Shalom, this is Rabbi Eliyahu Mitroff with this week's Talmud podcast. This week we're going to be covering Metzia Daf Lamed Daled Amud Aleph. We'll be doing a lot of the Gemara, the last Tosafoes, the Rashi, and the Ritva. The Gemara says like this: Amar Rav Papa, Shomer Chinam, Kevin Sh'amar Pashati, Matya et Kafela. A Shomer Chinam, someone who watches somebody else's object for free. Since he said Pashati, he claims he was negligent, he will receive the kefel. Even though he didn't pay yet, and he just claimed that he was negligent, but since he obligated himself, he's going to receive the kefel if the animal is found. He will receive the fine. Why? Like it says, Di boy pater nafshia b'geneva. Because since he could have exempted himself by claiming the thing was stolen, so since he admitted that he was negligent, he will get the kefel, even though he didn't pay yet. Rav Papa continues and says like this: Shomer Sachar, Kevin Sh'abar Nignava, Matya et Kefela. A Shomer Sachar, a paid watchman, will receive the kefel just by saying that the animal was stolen. Why? Because he could have claimed that the animal hurt itself or the animal died, and he would have been pater. So the same thing, just by claiming that the animal was stolen, that's enough for him to get the kefel, because the Baal wants his money, and he knows that he had a way out. He could have claimed the animal got damaged or died. Rav Papa continues and says, a shoel, someone who borrowed an animal, sha'amar hareini mishalem, and he claims, I'm willing to pay, I'm going to pay you, lo makne de kefela, he will not get the kefel. Why not? But my havilel nifter nafsheya, how can he possibly pater himself? But mismachos malacha, by claiming the animal died by doing the work that he was supposed to do? Misa machos malacha lo shkiach. That doesn't normally happen. It's a very strange claim to claim that the animal died just because he was doing what he was supposed to do. In other words, the animal was made for this type of work, and he died doing that type of work because of that work. It's very rare. Something like that doesn't happen. So since he has no way out, just claiming that you're going to pay, that's not enough, says Rav Papa. The Gemara continues, Rav Papa, but there's another shita in Rav Papa that says, Shoel nami kevan she'amareinu mishalem, since he says that he's going to pay, makne el kefel, we do give him the kefel. Why? V'i boy pater nafshe b'misa machmas malacha. He can claim that the animal died doing his work. So according to the Ikad Amre, since that is a valid claim that the animal died during its work, and he does have a way out, just saying that he's going to pay is enough to receive the kefel, because the Baal wants to get his money back. So he's willing to give him the kefel. So that was Rav Papa, and he said three things. A Shomer Chinim, if he says Hareini Mishalem, will receive the kefel. A Shomer Sachar, if he says Hareini Mishalem, he will receive the kefel. But a Shoel, who says Hareini Mishalem, I'm willing to pay, will not receive the kefel. Then there's the Ikad Amre that says that even a Shoel who claims that he will pay, he will also get the kefel. Comes along Rav Zvid and says, Hachi Amar Abaya, this is what Abaya said. Shoel, Ad Sheshilem, a shoel will not receive the kefel until he pays. My time, what's the reason why? Hoy v'kohana shalo. Since he receives all the pleasure. Dibur lo makni le kefela. So therefore, it's not enough to just claim that you're going to pay. You're going to actually pay, because a shoel, a person who borrows, he gets everything for free. So it's not enough just to say, I'm going to pay. You're going to have to pay. If you want to get the kefel, you're going to have to pay me cash up front, which is a different reason that Rav Papa brought, because Rav Papa said the reason why that he had no claim, Meis Makos Malacha. Abai is claiming it's because all the pleasure is his. And he brings a brisa that says, Tanya Kavaise, the Rav Zvid, Hashoel Paro Machavero, as someone who borrows an animal from his friend, V'nignava, and it gets stolen, Kidem Hashoel, if he advances and he pays, V'shilem, and afterwards we find the ganav, the shoel will receive the kefel. So what if we medaktek in the brisa, it says kidem v'shalem, he has to actually pay. It's not enough to say hareini mishalem. So now we're going to juxtapose this brisa against Rav Papa. It's not good if there's a brisa against Rav Papa. So the Gemara wants to figure out where this fits. It says, Lishnikama de Rav Papa vade lo havi tiyufta. The Lishna Kama of Reb Papa, surely it is not a contradiction. Why? Because the first sheet that we brought in Reb Papa is that Hareini Mishalem doesn't work. So there, this Bryce is not in contradiction with that. Why? Because the Bryce says, Kidem v'shalem. Only if he advances and he pays will he receive the kefil. Mashma, we can infer that Hareini Mishalem is not enough. So that seems to line up with the Lishna Kama of Reb Papa. The Gemara continues and says, Lishna Basra lemeti et yufta. Let us say that the Lishna Basra of Rav Papa is a tiyufta, because the Ika de Amre in Rav Papa was that if he says Hareini Mishalem, it is enough. Why? Because he could claim Meis Machmas Balacha, he could claim that the animal died doing its work, and therefore he'll have a way out, and therefore Hareini Mishalem is enough. The Baal is willing to give it. But this Bryce seems to be saying Kidem v'shalem. No, it's only if he advances and he pays do we say that he receives the kefil. So the Bryce is against the Ika de Amre and Rav Papa. The Gemara wants to answer, no, Rav Papa will answer you. Amar lecha Rav Papa. Mi alima masnisin de ketani shilem v'ukmene ba'amar. Hachinami ba'amar. No, don't you know, earlier in the Gemara, we had Rav Yochanan, when it said Shilem in the Mishnah, Shilem, although it's in Ishpa. So Rav Yochanan said, it's lav dafka Shilem. It doesn't really mean Shilem. It just means if you said Hareini Mishalem, that's enough. So if we see that we can do that in the Mishnah, so surely we could do the same thing in the Brisa. So when it said Kidem v'Shilem, it really means that he meant Hareini Mishalem. And therefore, it's not a stira. There's no contradiction. Rav Papa in the Ika de Amri says Hareini Mishalem works. And here also we'll say Hareini Mishalem works. So the Gemara doesn't like that answer. The Gemara says, Mi dame. How can you compare this Brisa to the Mishnah? They're not similar. Hasam lo ketani kidem. There it didn't say kidem. He advanced. He went forward and he paid. Haka ketani kidem. But here it says he went forward. So what does it mean? Kidem v'shalem. He advanced himself. He paid. It must mean he paid mamish. Don't come along and say because we made it in the Kimta in the Mishnah that shilem is lav dafka means Hareini Mishalem. They could do the same thing here because here it says kidem. So the Gemara answers, no, my kidem, kidem v'amar. You can still do it. Even though it says he advanced and he paid, it could mean that he advanced and he said. He came forward and he said, Hareini Mishalem. So therefore, there's no contradiction between the Brisa with the Ika de Amri and Rav Papa. Comes along the Rashi on the statement in the Gemara that said, Lishna Kama de Rav Papa, Vadai lo hayat yufta. The first reading of Rav Papa surely was not a contradiction. What did Rav Papa say? He said that Hareini Mishalem will not work. It's not enough because since he cannot claim Meis Machos Malacha, he cannot claim that the animal died because of its work. Therefore, Hareini Mishalem just saying is not enough. So the Gemara said, Vadai, this is not a contradiction to the Brisa, which claims that you have to pay. Because the Brisa says what it says, Gufe, Kidem v'Shalem, the Brisa says you have to advance and you have to pay. Mashma, we can infer that saying is not enough. So that's not a contradiction to the first understanding of Rav Papa. There seems to be no contradiction. But comes along Rashi with a kasha. He says, the name of the cave at the time of the Rav Papa, Mishum de lo Havile lemifter nafsheya, Havile meis makos malacha, Lo shkiach. Maybe you'll say, since the logic of Rav Papa was that the reason why it doesn't work is because you cannot claim Meis Makos Malacha, and therefore Hareini Mishalem will not work. But he says, Afilu Kidem v'Shalem nami eis le Rav Papa de lo konele. What's the difference if he comes forward and he pays? If we say that Meis Machos Malacha is not a taina, it's no claim, that means that he's obligated to pay the guy back. He has to give the original owner the money for the lost animal. And since there's no way out, what's the difference if he pays? The guy has them. So why would he receive the kefil by paying? Since the guy has no way out and he has no claim, the owner will not give the kefil to this guy because he knows he has to pay him in the end. So Rashi wants to answer. We can see from the Lashon in the Gemara itself that it's not true, because Rav Papa's statement was Hareini Mishalem doesn't work. We can infer from there that if he paid, it would work. Why does it say that even if he claims he will not receive the kefil? He should have said a bigger chiddush, which is that even if he pays, he won't receive the kefil. So from the fact that Rav Papa said Hareini Mishalem doesn't work, we can infer that paying would work. And even though it's true, he doesn't have a claim of Meis Malchus Malacha because it's not a good claim, but the Baal will still give him the kefil as long as he gets paid. Comes along the last Tosafoes in the daf and brings the Rak who disagrees with Rashi. The Rak doesn't like this svara. It doesn't make any sense. If Meis Machmas Halacha is no longer a taina, it's not a good claim because it's not shchiach. It doesn't happen very often. It seems to be something strange claiming that the animal died during his work. So therefore, it doesn't matter if he pays or if he doesn't pay. Up to now, we've been learning the whole Gemara that if the guy has no way out, so of course he doesn't get the kefil, because the guy is sure that he's going to get his money. Why would he give him the kefil? Same thing here. He disagrees with Rashi. Comes along the Tosafoes and explains. The Amar Reini Mishalim lo kanet the kefil. If he said that he wants to pay, that's not enough. About Shilem kanet kefil. But if he pays, it is enough. Comes along the Rak and says, "O Rak gars vaday havi tiyufta." Not the lashon vaday lo hayav tiyufta. He says the opposite. Vaday, it is a tiyufta. It surely contradicts the first statement of Rav Papa. The statement of Kidem V'Shalem, which means if you pay, you get, contradicts the statement of Rav Papa that said Hareini Mishalem doesn't work. But not only does Hareini Mishalem not work, but also paying will not work. The cave in the Rav Papa Meforish Taima Mashum the Lo Shkiach. Since Rav Papa explained that the reason why it doesn't work is because the taina of Meis Machmas Malacha is not Shkiach, it's not a normal claim, so it won't work even if he pays. High time of Shaya Kafilu B'Shilem. What's the difference? Even if he pays, it's still not a claim. And therefore, the Rak wants to change the girsa to say it surely is a contradiction, and paying will not work. Except now we have a difficulty. We have the raya of Rashi. Rashi said, no, it can't mean that. Why? Because it said Hareini Mishalim doesn't work. Mashma paying does work. If you wanted to say that paying didn't work, so say it. Paying doesn't work. Don't say that saying doesn't work. So the Tosafoes knocks out the proof of Rashi and says like this. I did teach that saying doesn't work. Why did it say that? Because the first two cases were cases of Hareini Mishalem. Rav Papa started out with the Shomer Chinam saying that if he says he'll pay, he gets the kefil. He went to Shomer Sachar and he says that if he says he'll pay, he'll get the kefil. So he continued in the same line and he said that if a shoel says, he will not get the kefil. But it's also true that the shoel will not get even if the shoel pays. And the Tosafoes will dolchek the language of the Gemara for the sake of the svara. The svara is that if Meis Machmas Malacha is not a taina, it's not a taina whether you pay or whether you don't pay. It's not a taina. So therefore, it's guaranteed that the owner is going to get his money back, and therefore he won't get the kefil. And that's the svara that we said up until now. Comes along the Ritva and wants to explain the Machlokis, Tosafoes, and Rashi. He says like this: Perish Rach in Tosafoes, Zeh Lashon, the high lishna filu shilem. This is true even if he pays. The high lishna filu shalim mamish. Then even if he mamish pays, it's still true that he doesn't get. Lo makne lekafel. He's not going to get the kefil. Kev and the meis makus will laka lo shkiach. The taina doesn't go away. It's not shkiach. It's not a good taina. Va'aydi denaket idak amar hareini mishalem naket haka amar hareini mishalem. And since the first two cases of Rav Papa were cases where he just said that he's going to pay, so he continued with the lashon of saying that he's going to pay hareini mishalem. Uvahu ze lashon goris lekama lish nekama the Rav Papa vaday havi tiyufta. And therefore the Rak changes the lashon in the Gemara to say vaday it is a tiyufta. Surely it's a contradiction because the taina is not taina and paying is not going to help. He explains Rashi. Aval Rashi zau perish the lahai lish nedavka amira. No, when it said Hareini Mishalem, it's dafka. Lo makne kefela kevin the meis makmus malaka lo shkiach the ekotart de gerusa. He explains there's really two things going on. There's the fact that he just said and he didn't pay, and there's also the taina. Aval shilem mamish kone kefela. But if you add the paying into the equation, that will work. And it doesn't matter that the taina is not a taina. L'kaman hakigaris lish nekaman the Rav Papa lo havi tiyufta, and therefore we have the girsa of Rashi like our Gemara. V'perishu zeh lashin lish nekama the Rav Papa lo havi tiyufta. Af agav the talui taimu mishum the meis malchus malacha. Even though it's true that we said that meis malchus malacha is not a taina if he didn't pay, then it's not shkiach. Afilu haki ko shekidim v'shilim makne kefela. But if the guy comes along and pays, he will receive the kefel. What happened to the svara if you don't have a taina so you don't get? So I saw one of the Meforshim that wants to explain Rashi that it could be that he still doesn't want the tircha. It's true, you're saying you want to pay, but if you don't actually pay, we might wind up in Beis Din, it's going to be a tircha. So even though you have no way out, but still I might have to drag the money out of you. So therefore we can say for Rashi that even though he doesn't have a taina, but still the Baal is worried that maybe he's not going to get his cash. So Hareini Mishalim will not be enough because I might still have the tircha getting the money out of you. It's true, you have to pay because you have no taina. You have no taina of Meis Malchus Malacha, but still I might have a hard time getting the money. And that's what Rashi's svara is. The Rach, on the other hand, will say that since you have no taina, whether you pay or whether you don't pay, you have no taina, and you're going to have to pay me, you're obligated to me, and therefore I'm not worried, and I'm not going to give you the kefil. Comes along the Torah's Chaim, and he wants to bring a proof for the side of Tosafoes. He says like this: T'ishile mahane, the lishna kamadar of Papa. If you want to say like Rashi's saying that Shilem's going to help according to Rav Papa, Afagav the Eisle Meis Malchus Malacha lo shkiach, even though the taina of Meis Malchus Malacha is not shkiach, Im ken amai ka'amar taima de Abaya, da'amar achi Shilem mishum de kohana shalo. Why did Abaya come along with a different logic and say that the reasoning why Hareini Mishalim does not work, it's not enough, is because he gets all the pleasure? V'lo ka'amar taima de la'ayo, just let him say the reason above, which is Meis Malchus Malacha is not a taina, mishum Meis Malchus Malacha lo shkiach. Just say that. Elavadai wants to say, if we say this not shkiach, afilu shilem nami lo mahani. It must be, it's no taina at all. It doesn't work if you don't pay, and it doesn't work if you pay. So he wants to explain that the Gemara seems to be leaning towards the side of Tosafoes because Abaya changed the svara. If Abaya just wanted to explain why Hareini Mishalim didn't work, he should have just said, because Meis Malchus Malacha is not a taina. Why did he come on to a new taina that all the pleasure is his? It must be that if you hold that Meis Malchus Malacha is not a taina, it's not a taina whether you pay, or it's not a taina whether you don't pay. It's never a taina. And therefore, the Girs of the Rach makes more sense, because Vada it is a tiyuf to Rav Papa. Kidei Mishalim is what the Brisa says that if you pay, you get. And Rav Papa is holding that even if you pay, you will not get, because Meis Malchus Malacha is not a taina and is never a taina. Okay, that's it for this week's podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Please share it with your friends, and please look below this video for any links to extra material to help you to understand this class.